we just posted the normal Facebook post where we say, okay, we'd love to involve the community. Can you please take a survey? And we had tons of responses. I think maybe at least 100.
Welcome to Mobile Growth and Pancakes, a podcast by StoreMaven. We break down how and why mobile apps grow. In each episode, we invite a mobile growth expert onto the show to break down a specific mobile growth strategy, how it worked, why it worked, and what they would do differently. I'm your host, Esther Shatz. I am joined today by Nadir, who's the growth marketing manager at Oh BiBi, and I'll let you introduce yourself a bit further.
So my name is Nadir. I'm from France, currently based in Paris, currently working with a mobile game developer called Oh BiBi, which makes one main title, which is called Frag. It's a mobile game shooter. Previously, I was working with Tilting Point, which is based in New York with offices in Ukraine and Barcelona. I was based in the Barcelona office. I was there for a few years. And I was in charge of ASO back there. I was leading the ASO team, so working on ASO for Tilting Point's portfolio of games, but also for those of its clients, because Tilting Point was also acting as the growth marketing agency for other publishers and studios.
So you've been in the industry for a good long time.
Yes, but it's not. I don't see it as a long time because there is something new all the time. It's always changing, so it doesn't feel like the same thing that I was doing, let's say, 5 or 10 years ago.
For sure, totally agree. Even just thinking about the early days of our foray into ASO, it's such a different arena now.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the topic at hand. You have a really interesting strategy that I want to discuss. Can you share the specific mobile app that you did this for?
Actually, I've done it for a lot of apps. I haven't tested it yet for the titles at Oh BiBi, but it's something that I was doing a lot at Tilting Point. So it's about testing icons and assets and all kind of assets. So, even if you have a lot of ideas from studying your competition, from studying other apps, other games, from running tests, sometimes you don't know why something is working or not working, and you're like scratching your head and you run out of ideas. So one thing that I tried one day, I was talking with the marketing team of a game, and I told them, look, we have tested a lot of things. It was for a puzzle game, like a puzzle game. It's called Languinis. It's a puzzle game, kind of like mixing match 3 with a Scrabble. And we were not able to find new icons, even though we've been testing new variants for like a year. So we couldn't find something that could beat the previous icons and screenshots for like a year. So what I wanted to do was to involve the community, because the game had a pretty strong community, like of people going on Facebook and asking for help for certain levels, or exchanging ideas, or just sharing feedback on the game.
Do you mind if I stop you for a second? When you say you were having trouble improving your performance, first of all, what was the main KPI that you were looking at? Was it CVR or was it something else?
Yeah, it was CVR. It was improving CVR. We always try and beat current assets by at least, let's say, 20% before we apply something. So that was the idea. So in that case, what we've done was to try and involve the community. We basically did a survey where we showed 3 types of screenshots. So let's say one of them puts, let's say, the emphasis on the gameplay, and then the other one put an emphasis on the characters that you can meet in the game. So you have some kind of let's say animals in the game that are there when you play, like they cherish you when you play, they cheer you up, etc. So for us, the hypothesis was that the characters were not so important. But we couldn't figure that out by just doing a test, whether with Google Pay experiments or with tools like StormHaven or anything, because tools, they speak with numbers, but they don't speak with explanations. So by doing this survey, we ask people, look at that first series of screenshots, the one with the gameplay, what do you think? And then look at this other series of screenshots, the one with the characters, and what do you think? So what people told us was that, yeah, the languages, which were the characters in the game, are actually missing. Or we also had like a series where we had the characters, but really small. And that's what they told us. They told us, yeah, but the characters we are not in the game, represented in the screenshot, so we don't really see them. And for us, we were like, okay, maybe they make a point, because we always assume that the characters had some importance, so we always put them either big or small, but we really never paid attention to that. So then with this input, with the creative team, we redesign our screenshots. And then we run an experiment with larger characters. We put them like really with let's say taking 3/4 of the real estate of the screenshots, and then finally we got, I think back then we had like maybe the result of the Google Pay experiment was something like maybe 25%, which we hadn't.
Oh, wow.
Or not.
You rarely see in a Google experiment.
Yeah. Sometimes you have those good you have such good numbers, and so for us it was really really exciting, because that's not something that we could have assumed before, because people like our games, like the game because of its gameplay. Of course, there are characters, but we could not really know that they really liked seeing them in the game.
So basically, you found a community of already existing players from the app,
Yeah.
and that's who you were talking to. So first, how did you find the community? Was it through the app itself, or were you, were you searching elsewhere?
For that particular game, it was Facebook, because the audience was mostly on Facebook. I mean, the audience was like mostly women, like say 30 plus. So that's where they were. That's where they were interacting with the community management team. We just posted the normal Facebook post where we say, okay, we'd love to involve the community. Can you please take a survey? And we had tons of responses. I think maybe at least 100. And people were willing to share their inputs. And yeah, people must be wondering, yeah, but why did I ask current users and not new users? Is because, yeah, current users who like the game are the same, behave the same as new users who will then download the game and enjoy it. So that's why it makes sense here, and it did make sense because we indeed saw like a bigger CVR afterward.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's actually really clever because you'll see a lot of surveys, before launch, or even we've seen surveys and people we find don't self-report well, meaning you say that one thing is appealing to you, but when we actually look at what people are doing in the game and what's caused that performance shift, it doesn't connect with what they've reported. But when you're going to your community, they already have built an attachment to the game, so they're able to identify what they like about it already. And I would assume that these creatives, you have a leg up, that you're not just going to improve your conversion rate, you're going to also probably improve your downstream metrics, because you're looking at the group of people who are really, heavy players and logging in and excited to participate. Exactly. So you're able, I think that's really, really smart. And I like the way you've kind of balanced the quantitative with the qualitative. So you went to the community for the ideas and you validated in testing to make sure that, what you were looking at actually made sense in your audience.
Yeah, exactly. That's a way to, let's say, validate an idea, because sometimes you might think that you've picked the best assets, but you don't really know why. And in that case, when you ask the community, when you ask people, they will tell you why exactly. They will tell you it's because of the characters, because of the colors, it's because it's complicated to understand. They will provide you like real input. So it's good to have both. It's good to have metrics, from Google experiments, from tools like yours, like Stormaven and the other ones, and to have, let's say, input.
And has it ever backfired? Have you ever, in the examples where you turn to the community, have they ever kind of voiced something that you didn't see performing well on the top of the funnel in conversion rate?
In that case, we turned to Reddit. Because on Reddit, that game, which was more oriented towards teens, teens and young adults, let's say 15 to 25 years old. So that community for that game was actually very active on Reddit because the game was really artsy. They were always making some kind of like art of their own, artwork of their own, and they're really talking a lot about the characters, new episodes on the game, etc., etc. So what we did there was actually we kind of cheated a bit, but I will explain. We basically, one of our marketing team members infiltrated the community. I know it's bad, but trust me, trust me.
I mean, it's genius because this is where you're hearing everything you need to hear now.
Yeah. A lot of companies do that. It maybe sounds bad, but in the end, that's a way to get close to your community. And if you don't do anything wrong, I think I see it as perfectly ethical. So I will explain. Basically, we were running some experiments for some icons, which involved lots of characters. So you had tons of characters, male, female, and what we wanted to ask the community was what they think of the icons we were testing. So how we did it, I told the team, post a thread on Reddit and say, oh look, the Arcana changed the icon. Actually, the title didn't change the icon; it was just being tested, and the post was asking the community, what do you think? What do you think of the new icon they're testing or they're using? And people are saying, oh no, I don't like this character because he's a cheater or blah blah. He's not fair. And I prefer this old guy that they removed a while ago. And that was perfect input for us because we really got something that we didn't have before. So we then went back with the creative team and we used some characters that they mentioned they missed, removed some that they say they didn't like anymore, and we tested that again with the experiments, and it validated the input that we got from our friends on that community.
I think that has probably also, it's a secondary effect of if you've got lapsed users who have the app still downloaded on their phone but haven't logged in a while, you can change the icon and catch their attention, especially if it's a beloved character that went away that might have affected why they weren't playing heavily.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's awesome. So you use your infiltration for good, not for evil.
Yeah. Not for bad things, not for compromising anything. So I think I recommend. Of course, don't abuse it. We haven't done it a lot. I think we've done it just twice for 2 games. That's it. Don't do it often because otherwise people will notice, and sometimes you might make a mistake. Like using your own name or something like that, But I think it's important, and you should try. If you have a community, you should try. Be there, and sometimes, I think it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I agree. What would you say is the ideal frequent? When are the times that you should turn towards a community versus when are the times that you want to kind of stick to testing and other more traditional tool-based strategies?
I would say you can find 70% of your ideas by just testing and brainstorming and looking at what competitors are doing. So I think that should be your main driver because it's also time consuming to know the community. It takes a lot of time. So I would say, 70% should come from your own research, 30% from the community. So I would say if you ask how often, I would say do that. I don't know, once every 3 months or 4 months, involve your community and see if you can find really new ideas for your icons or for your screenshots or your videos.
That's kind of the meat portion, and now I have our quick fire round of questions that I ask everyone when they come onto the show. So get ready.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, if you could give just one tip to somebody who's aspiring to be a mobile growth marketer or just starting their journey, what would that tip be?
I would say if you want to venture into that industry, first you have to have a good sense of apps and games, especially if you want to work in games. Make sure you understand how mobile games, especially free-to-play mobile games, operate. What are the top games out there? See how they've changed through the time. How to understand how they monetize users, understand what the community like about the game. Also, yeah, I don't think there are many like training programs at schools or university about mobile growth. I'm not aware of any like.
Not that I have heard of.
Yeah, me neither. So I would say the best ways to start would be to start with an internship if you are still like after grad. If you just graduated, if you are, someone asked me actually the other day on online, like on a Reddit group that I was. Someone asked me how would someone go into mobile marketing for games at some point if they are doing something else. Let's say if you come from the e-commerce world, or if you come from let's say if you come from apps but not games. I think the best way would be to use your free time and after work time to study. There are many like I mean, you can use Udemy, you can use Reddit, you can use YouTube, you can use a lot of areas to learn about, let's say, ASO for games, or how to run a Facebook campaign for games and stuff like that. Then you can, I'm sure around you have some people who make their own games, like some friends. So I will ask them, yeah, you want me to help you with? I've learned about SEO for games. If you want, I can help you with your game. Or I can help you with like your Facebook campaign. You can also do like connect with the community. Of course, now with the times of COVID, depending on where you are, it might be tough to
different type of connection. Yeah.
Yeah, but there are. I'm in Paris now, and there are some meetups. So you can. I think it's the best way to make connections. That's how I met a lot of connections through my career, like before the times of conferences, etc. I go to meetups, I go to, let's say, mobile game development meetup or mobile growth meetups in your city. You can also find things online right now. If you go to meetup, you also have lots of like virtual meetups, and then join some Slacks like the popular ones.
Like you're tying really well into the next question, which is your favorite mobile growth resource. So maybe your favorite channel or your favorite blog.
Yeah, I would say LinkedIn and Twitter. Like I have some alerts on Twitter. I have some search terms and some hashtags that I follow on Twitter, like to get updates on topics like the ones that I involve with a lot, like ASO, mobile games, UA, creatives, now iOS 14, SCAD network, etc., etc. Same thing with LinkedIn. I'm not involved in many Slack groups. Actually, just the main one that I'm spending a lot of time. I'm actually not so much anymore, but because of time. But was the ASO Slack group. I think it's a really nice community, and it's very very diverse. Like you have people from all kind of backgrounds and companies. So I would say if you're like new or if you're in the industry, I would say join that one. Also join Mobile Dev memo from Eric Seufert. I think it's not for everyone. Meaning it can be if you are newcomer to the
bit intimidating.
Yeah, to the world of UA, because it's quite it's like a tough boys club kind of. It can be intimidating. Sometimes it's quite. It can be quite political, quite very a lot of animosity, but yeah, it's full of great info, and this is where you have like all the top, the latest trends shared and the latest news articles about Apple, about Facebook, etc.
Okay, who is the person in the mobile growth world that, let's assume Corona is behind us? Who would you most want to take to lunch and why?
Actually, I think the ones that I want to meet are the ones that no one knows about. I would like to meet, let's say, the smartest UA people let's say at Plarium or at Playrix or at all those companies that I know they're doing a good job. But personally, I never met them because I know they go to conferences, but they hide their names.
Yeah, you want the people who aren't giving the speeches, but the people who are doing.
That's the one I want. For instance, now I would like to talk to, I don't know who's like the lead UA marketing for, let's say, Raid from Plarium, but that's the guy or the girl that I would like to talk to have a coffee or lunch.
All right. Well, if you're listening, head UA at Raid, you know who to call. Okay. Last. You thought that was funny. Last question, and it's the most important one. So we're called Mobile Growth and Pancakes, and I have to know what your favorite type of pancake is.
I'm more sweet one. I would say just the normal one with let's say the Canadian one with maple syrup, with a nice cup of coffee.
You have a Canadian citizen right here, so I think she's inclined to agree. her father's Canadian, but yes, good pure Canadian maple syrup. Okay, amazing. Nadir, can you just tell people, if they want to find you and maybe learn more or read up on what you're doing, is there anywhere where they can check you out?
Yeah, sure. I think the best way is LinkedIn. This is where, let's say, I share the most. So you can just find me LinkedIn, Nadir Garouche, just my name. I'm also on Twitter, not frequently posting, but I'm there and happy to share things with people. I'm on Twitter. My handle is just Nadir, just my name. So you can find me easily. And also I will mention the ASO Slack. This is, let's say, the Slack where I go at least once a day. So if people want to catch me, also, if they're not connected with me on LinkedIn or anywhere else, they can DM me there or ask questions. I'm on open book.
Perfect. Okay, Nadir, thank you so much. Super helpful and super interesting.
Yeah, you're welcome, Esther. Thank you.
And that was Mobile Growth and Pancakes. To find out more about StoreMaven and how we can improve App Store performance, visit storemaven.com. And then make sure to search for Mobile Growth and Pancakes in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and click subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. On behalf of the team here at StoreMaven, thanks for listening.